All right. So I'd like to talk a little bit about a system for U10. This would be my proposition based on the system we would like to try to achieve in high school and at the U14 level, possibly the U12 level. I'll do a separate video on that. But at the U10 level where we play 10-a-side rugby, I think this would be a system that would be good for the kids at that level, accessible for them at that level, and would really build well and help them to understand quickly the system. It's pretty close to the system we're playing at a higher level, and it makes a lot of sense. It runs in the same principles, same basic shape. So once again, we've got our rugby field here. We've got our A channel, which is the width on the left-hand side. Our B channel is the center channel of the field, and our C channel is the width on the right-hand side of the pitch. And we're gonna, in this system, split our forwards into, we're gonna have a 4-pod system, just like in our 1-3-3-1 in a 15s, but it's going to be our 4 pods are going to be pods of 2 instead of pods of 3. So 13-11 are the A channel pod, the wide attackers. 1 and 4 and 3 and 5 are the 2 forward B channel pods, and 12 and 14 is the C channel wide attacking back pod. And then we've got our 2 leftover guys. In this system, I'm thinking that we should dispense with the 10. I think it's a little too complicated to try and have that first receiver at the U10 age. I think we really want to just have one central distributor and one guy who's running the whole show offensively. Our scrum half, he's a high skill player. He's quick. He's smart. He understands the game well. And he's just working all the pods on his own. And all the rest of the pods are just doing their thing. We're cultivating 12s and 13s centers. We're cultivating wings. And then basically our 9s and our centers, out of the 9s and centers on the team, when they age up, eventually we'll pick a 10 from the guys that have played those positions. And that just leaves one other leftover guy, which is the 2. And I think this is kind of... this guy is kind of our, he would eventually play more like a flanker, potentially, or we could do a couple different things with him. My thought would be basically to do one of 2 things. Either tell him to work with these 2 groups in the center and just kind of do what he thinks makes sense, or tell him to go over, work with these guys, and then alternate working on the outside edges. Or maybe we just pick a smart player and just kind of, he's the one guy that gets a little bit of free reign to kind of do what he wants, and everybody else has to play systematically, but he can kind of inject himself wherever, and as long as he's working with other pods. Something like that. I'm not positive on what to do. I'd be curious what the U10 coaches think. But this is my basic idea. And just a quick explanation of the numbers I've picked. I would want these actually to be the numbers based on a scrum. This would be ideal, and it doesn't have to be this way, but 1 and 4 and 3 and 5 are sensical pairings, so that these guys are going to play closer to the 12-14, and these guys are going to play closer to the 13-11, and they're both going to play in the B channel. And then the 2, that center guy, he's the ranger who can kind of do different things. So this would be my basic idea for a system for the U10, so that they're spreading the field and moving the ball around. And once again, they would also have a basic plan that if they don't see anything else, if they're not sure, they basically go A channel and they go forward pod, C channel, and then back to B channel for 2 forward hits, and then out to the A channel. So they're always kind of going wide, and that it doesn't have to be, it can be a lot of different things that the coach want. It doesn't, these guys don't have to crash. You know, we could, maybe if the 3 is in and the 5 is rucking, and the 4 and the 1 are set up like this. The 12, sorry, I'm going to erase all these. So we got a ruck here with 3 and 5. We would have 12 and 14 over here, threatening this channel. We'd have the 9 here. 4 and 1 would be here. 13 and 11 would be here. And let's say the 2 just decides to join with these guys. He could go anywhere. He could join with these guys, or these guys, as long as he's kind of playing within a group. I think the only thing we'd want to discourage is for him to just like go completely on his own, but he kind of joins with whichever group. But anyways, in this situation, this is a back line, and then this can just become a back line. So the 9 can pass the 4, and the 4 could crash with the 1 rucking, or the 4 could pass the 1 to crash with the 4 rucking, or the 4 could pass the 1 and he could pass the 13, the 13 could pass the wing. So but this just creates shape, so it's clear how we're supposed to be threading the field, spreading the field, and we don't do something in which there's no clear positions. It's not really clear whose role. So maybe like your 13 and your 9 and your 4 are really good, and they just like do most of the things, and like maybe your 1 is not very good and he just kind of like drifts around and doesn't really get involved and doesn't really improve as a player. But here there's kind of a pretty clear system, and everybody's got their roles and everybody's got their duties and everybody's part of the team. So this is my kind of U10 proposition for 10-player rugby. All right.